It's Sunday, July 24th, right after midnight, about 12:30 a.m. And what I want to talk about today, as I said, I'm going to be doing videos every day, you know, uh, mainly for the young people now, trying to give them some insight into what's waiting for them in them streets, okay? So that if they're not experiencing it right now, maybe later on, when they go through some experiences in them streets, they'll look back and remember, oh, that old lady who we thought was crazy, she wasn't so crazy after all. You know what I'm saying? Kids, you know what I want to tell you? Do not trust friends, family, corrupt popo. And believe me, I'm not trying to say that to make you bitter on your family, but what I'm trying to tell you is even the people closest to you or the people who should have your back, protect you, like your family, law enforcement, or people who should have your back, like your friends. Do you know how many people I've seen over 35 years that I have, you know what I'm saying, been in or out of these streets, had my ear to these streets? How many people I've seen turn on their close friends? People who I've seen, or not saying I've known personally, but know of. And these are all true stories that you can look up yourself on the internet, who have killed their close friends. There's stories of young girls who snuck out in the middle of the night against their parents' wishes to go hang out with their friends, and they never made it home. Their friends killed them. Friends killed them. Look it up yourself. Look these stories up yourself. Or like, for example, people think that the drug game is all Gucci because of the money. The money is fantastic. The price you pay for it can be extremely high. That's why I didn't get involved all up in that. I put just my toe, my pinky toe, up in it, right on the edge, and that was it. And what I seen out there in the streets told me that's not something I want to involve myself in. You know what I'm saying? On any kind of a serious level, other than the little silly bullshit I was doing out there, which was just basically enjoying myself, being irresponsible, partying, whatever y'all want to call it now, getting turned up, whatever you want to call it, and ignoring my responsibilities. And for the first 2 years of my oldest child's life, I was a wreck. I readily admit that. I did totally wrong by her. I did not do right by her. And it was a big source of guilt for me that I kept, you know what I'm saying, trying to hit the mute button on the world and stay lifted all the time, stay buzzed, that I didn't have to think about what I was doing wrong. I knew what I was doing was wrong. There was things I did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time that, and I have to be real and honest about it. You know what I'm saying? I did something that I violated my own home, my own mom. When my mom was upset with me and she tossed me out. Maybe some of y'all have had experiences like that as well. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can read when my manuscript, when I get a book deal, to publish my manuscript, because I already have my manuscript written. It's only like another 100 and 150 pages I need to add to bring it up to date to the stuff that's happened up to now. You know what I'm saying? And write about when my sister was murdered, because that was so painful. I couldn't even write about it. It took me over 4 months to even be able to write about what happened that day. That's how painful it was. I couldn't even touch it, think about writing about it. And so I did not include that in my manuscript at this time, but it will be there. It's only going to take me about another 150 pages to add on. That's no problem when you got over 800 pages sliding down Sugar Hill. And so if y'all want to know exactly the specifics, you could read my manuscript when I get a book deal and it becomes a book. But in the meantime, trust me when I tell you, I've been on both sides of the fence. That's why my perspective has changed. I know people may want to come for me when these videos come out, and say, well, dig up dirt from my past. Oh, look, well, she said this or that online. This used to be a time when I used to be extremely anti-illegal immigration. But then I saw something that changed my mind, that gave me a different perspective, where I began to be a little more, shall we say, I had a higher level of awareness. Because the more information you have, you begin to see the forest for the trees. That's an old school saying. You can't see the forest for the trees. And what it means is you can't see the whole forest, the big picture, because you're busy looking at your tree or your trees, your individual whatever it is that's your individual issue, problem, or concern. You looking at your individual tree or trees, and you don't see the whole. I began to see the whole bigger picture. You know what changed my mind and made me more understanding about illegal immigration? Okay, And believe me, I'm not talking about, I have no understanding or no kind of okayness with those fuckers who come across the border carrying drugs and shit like that to come poison our communities. You know, while they carry it here, they process it and create it and make it in they country over there from the cocoa leaf. None of that shit is grown here in the U.S. We know that. And it's transported over here by various different criminal organizations who I ain't gonna name. They know who they are. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, you know what I'm saying? They do all of that and then make all of that money. And then bring all the violence. See, I can't say nothing about the drug game or the money that come with it, because I'd be a fool to act like I don't understand that kind of money people are going to, go for. But when it reaches the level of violence that now it is completely unsafe on our city streets. Like I said, I'm even talking to the drug gangsters and this and that. Like I said, in case you didn't hear me, do what you do. Do what you do, yo. But leave the kids out of it. And see, that's the problem I have with all of this, whether it's corrupt popo, whether it's gangbangers, or whatever. Kids, here's your lesson I'm trying to tell you. They will not leave y'all out of it. See, somebody like my kid, I had to get my head busted to make them understand and in turn, let them know that there will be payback coming. And I didn't care about that shit, that little petty shit, in order for them to understand, these local gangbangers to understand. And these grown-ass men out here doing grown-ass men gangster shit in them streets to leave my kid out of it. I had to literally go to war with them for that. See? And why I tell you that is because I'm telling you the truth, kids. Don't listen to nothing, none of that Gucci shit your homeboys, your homegirls is telling you, whether it's about the stripping game, whether it's about OnlyFans, whatever is the latest hustle bullshit, the con games and the scams and the fake checks and this and that, all kind of shit that goes on. Drug game, this and that. Listen, I'm not talking to you adults. To you adults. Y'all ain't got to get your fucking feathers ruffled. I'm telling you, do what you do. But leave the kids out of it. And especially leave my kids out of it. And the reason I say that, because I was one of them kids. And they only have their childhood and their innocence for a short period of time. It's snatched away so quick in the hood. In the hood. And I want to see anybody come for me, because I'll be waiting for them. I'll be like, well, what? Aren't you one of those Black Lives Matter people who say Black Lives Matter? They matter unless it's my black life, huh? Or my kid's black life, huh? So like I said, don't get me wrong, yo. You drug dealing, you prostitutes, you con artists, you bank robbers, on and on, whatever the fuck y'all are doing out there, okay? Do what you do. That's what I say to you adults. Do what you do. But leave the kids out of it. Let them have their childhood, for God's sake. We got young kitty, at this point, we got young kitty gangsters running around here killing people. What was that child's name in Chicago? Khadijah Barnes. And then there was another one somewhere, Little Yummy. And when you look at these kids' eyes who are doing these things, you see their eyes are dead. You know why? Because certain shit will kill you inside your soul. It'll eat up, the goodness inside of your soul. And you can always see what a person's about in their eyes. Don't listen to nothing they say. Look at what they do and pay attention to their eyes, what they get excited, angry, emotional, drawn to, happy about. You'll know everything, no matter what they say out their mouth, kids. That's what you need to know. Look at all of these big-time gangsters and see how the story ends for them. All of that Willy Bobo shit they be kicking you, they be talking to y'all about the middle of the story. I don't give a fuck who it is they talk about, because I pay attention to the behavior patterns, see? I don't watch this one or that one rise or fall. I pay attention to the behavior pattern. I watch the rise and falls of civilizations, nations, cultures. And you know what I see? All these people playing innocent. You know when they want to talk about how great their cultures are? All of them. They always got to go back into the past, because most of them ain't doing nothing right now that's great. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? For real. And I'm telling you, everything you do out there in the streets, you will pay for one way or another. It's very rare that anybody gets away with anything forever. Look at Ted Bundy. Look at BTK. Huh? That nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yo, He got away. BTK or Green River Killer, they got away. They were serial killers. They got away for decades. But eventually, they thought, they was too smart. They outsmarted themselves. See, the odds turn on you and change on you. No matter what you do, there's always the odds. You ain't gonna, get away with everything every time. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you could never fool all the people all the time. And there's always somebody smarter than you. For real. Never ever doubt that. I don't even doubt that. I know I'm smart. I'm a smart bitch, but there's always plenty of people smarter than you. You know what I'm saying? When you think you know everything, that's when you stop learning. Never think you know everything. You can learn something new every day. So there you go, kids. That's my story. That's my lesson to you today. I don't care how close they are to you. Believe me, I've seen the closest people turn on me. Family, close family, who sexually abused me, or physically abused by my mom. That was back in the day when they let you do that and look the other way, My mom, people from the back in the day would know what I'm talking about. My mom beat me with shoe. She beat me, bloody my nose twice, hit me in my nose twice, bloody my nose. She beat me with belts, extension cords, even in the extension cord in the bathtub. She caught me a few times in the bathtub with the extension cord. When she wanted me to think she had forgot about whatever minor violation I'd done. My mother had a million rules, and I told the line on them all, because my mother she believed in that ass whipping on the kids, spare the rod, spoil the child type of thing. That's how it was back in the 70s when I was coming up, So in the 80s, So because I graduated high school in 1986, George Washington. So anyway, kids. That's what I would tell you. Always watch everybody closest to you. Always watch them for a change. Especially you young girls. Because as soon as your body starts changing, it's like men start thinking with the little head instead of the big one. You know what I'm saying? So I know that for a fact. I had to go to war with them cats across the street for them to not look at my daughter or not think they was going to disrespect my daughter. And so I want y'all young people to know, trust is nice, but you know what's better? Respect. See, don't automatically hand out trust to people. Yeah, because sometimes some people are deserving of trust and there's others that's wolves in sheep clothes. And they're not deserving of your trust and they'll take advantage of your trust. They're manipulators or opportunists, And as you get older, and another thing, you'll begin to realize that. But another thing, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or get that uncomfortable feeling in your gut, that you feel it's not right, don't do. When it make whatever excuses you got to make to get out the situation, I'm not telling you to risk yourself, your safety, and then go tell a grown-up that you trust right away. Don't ever let a grown-up talk you into doing anything that you feel is wrong, I'm telling you, because if they ask you to keep it a secret, a grown-up asking a kid to keep it a secret, and you're not talking about a birthday party for somebody, it's wrong. There you go, kids. I'll say it if they won't. So in the meantime, get home safe. God bless you, kids. And you know what I say to you grown-ass folks out there. Do what you do, but leave the kids out of it, and especially leave my kid out of it. And, for God's sake, stop trying to sweep it under the rug, the bad shit that's happening to these kids, like that poor boy Jason Perez, who was murdered on the corner in the local store that we all go to, and the ones who murdered him, the 5 who murdered him, go there quite locally too. They probably still go there. And them Arabs who own the store look the other way and won't turn them in. But I guarantee you, if that had been an Arab kid killed, they'd have already had him been cooperating and handing over video footage and all of that. So, you know what? It's important to remember how many of our young people have been killed on these streets, And they don't want to. Well, I'll make sure he's remembered, right along with my murdered sister, Cheryl Outerbridge, who was murdered Monday, December 2nd, 2013, 6:30 a.m. in Jamaica, Queens. Okay, in a domestic violence incident where she was kidnapped off the street, dragged back to the house, and beat to death. And I had to go see my only sister beat to death in the morgue, who I used to read to her when she was in my mother's belly, Babysat her alone when I was 7, and she was 6 months old. So, we don't want to forget that. And we don't want to forget poor young 17-year-old Jason Perez, who was murdered going to the local corner store. Jumped by 5 gangbangers, and if that wasn't bad enough, then they shot him afterwards. Nah, I ain't gonna let it be forgotten, because it's wrong, it's dead wrong. Kids, get home safe. Believe me, do whatever you can do to avoid bullshit, or whatever you got to do to get home safe. Because I guarantee you, your parents would rather you be judged by 12, like me, than carried by 6, like my murdered sister. God bless you, kids. Get home safe.